Have you ever thought about how posture affects your well-being? Well, today's guest happens to be an expert on the subject, and she's here to tell us why it's so important that you sit up straight.
My name's Annette Verpillot. I'm the founder of Posture Pro, and my passion is raising awareness about posturology around the world.
Annette, thank you so much for being with me this morning.
Thank you for having me, Cindy.
Well, we're here to talk about quite a few things, but I want to start with a bit of your background, because before starting your clinic, Posture Pro, you used to be an athlete, right? Is that what inspired the clinic?
I can't say that that's what inspired the clinic, but I guess that unconsciously I've always had posture in the back of my mind. Mm-hmm. I've always worked, and I was actually a sprinter when I was younger. Was admitted to Les Jeux du Québec, okay. And wow. Remember that my father had stopped the process of making it there. The feeling that remains with me is that I was very crushed by this decision, not really understanding why. And when I asked him, why, Dad, why? He responded that he didn't want me to have my body destroyed by the age of 30. So I guess that unconsciously it resonated and stayed with me. Mm-hmm. And don't want to say we all have a life's purpose, but slowly my life kind of took me in the direction of opening a posture clinic called Posture Pro.
So that definitely had some influence, right? You were probably thinking about that the whole time, because there are high rates of injuries among athletes, you know.
Yes, which, I was lucky enough. I was 8 years old. From 8 to 12, I was competing. I never really got injured. I can't say that I remembered the injuries with the athletes, but I remember my father being very concerned about it.
Right, because I have a few friends who have been, in different sports, and especially knee injuries. That's the one I hear the most about. So I think he was concerned. He probably had a good point, but it's amazing how it influenced you to, keep that in the back of your mind in terms of posture and safe ways to be an athlete, because this is something it's a subject that reoccurs in your clinic, right? Dealing with athletes.
I was fortunate enough to work with some famous strength coaches whose concern was to reduce injury, gain strength in the consultation. And one of their interests was to find out if we can actually make an athlete stronger by realigning their posture. Not knowing the answer to this, I said, of course, well, let's try and see. And what they quantified, they did a lot of testing with dynamometer tests and different types of strength testing. Mm-hmm. And they concluded that there was a strength gain anywhere between 5 to 13% within 3 to 5 minutes.
Wow, so that's a significant increase in such a short period of time.
According to them, we're talking about anywhere between 6 months to 1 year's training to gain those results.
Wow.
So the idea behind that is if we can have the athletes aligned before they actually do the sport, can we prevent injury, and can we make them stronger or help them reach their higher potential?
Okay. Now that you have this evidence, do you reach out to more athletes, like in schools and things like that?
I try to, definitely, keeping in mind that there's only 24 hours in a day.
Right, of course.
I really try to, but I have different aspects of the clinic, is obviously, as we were discussing before, most people are not athletes. If I can help increase strength, I certainly will, but I also work with a lot of people who have common chronic injuries, popular ones being the knee, lower back, ankle, shoulder, headaches, migraines.
Are those the top ones? Knees and back, lower back? I feel like that's the one I always hear people complain about.
The popular ones would be ankle, knee, hip, lower back. Lower back is a huge one, thoracic, cervical, shoulder, and migraines.
Oh, wow.
If you combine all of these together, you have a nice great expenses at her cost, of course, to try to manage the symptoms.
Right.
But the athletes is absolutely important to. I have some kids. I like to start and work with kids because I see it as prevention, and I think that all the teams, all the kids should be assessed by a posturologist.
Okay.
It is an injury waiting to happen, and posturology really allows us to prevent the injury. Now, I'm not talking about, if somebody rams into you, but the way that they're moving around, positioning their foot on the ground, pivoting their knee. And of course, if there's that moment where the athlete will, come and jam into the athlete, they're going to be better prepared to react to that movement.
Okay. What about for the everyday person? Why do you think there's so many people with bad posture or these issues like lower back and knees and so on?
Well, as humans, there's one thing that we fight on Earth, which is gravity, right? What makes us human is the fact that we walk on 2 feet, we speak, and we're able to write. Right. Keeping in mind that if we walk on 2 feet, we rely on our body, our muscles, left side, right side of the body, to be able to sustain that gravity. Okay. The thing is that if we learn different, I'm going to say bad posture habits from the beginning, which is 12 months old, then we kind of, right, which is when we start walking, when we stand up at 12 months, we kind of pick up on these bad habits and repeat them throughout the course of our life. Okay. Now, when you're young, when the car is new, the body parts don't start breaking down. But for some, and there's different factors that could probably influence this, the wear and tear of the joints could happen potentially sooner than other, or some will be later in life. Okay. So how early can you bring your kid to be tested? 3 years old. 3 years old. We start at 3 years old.
But how do you even know, like as a parent, how do you know, okay, something's a little off here, maybe I should bring my kid in?
Well, the mother knows. We call them postural children. Okay. In the sense that they're going to be the child that's either hyperactive, underactive, unable to control, learning difficulty, clumsy. They become a problematic kid, not to say that they're problematic in essence, but it becomes that they have outbursts of attitudes and fits, and all of that could potentially be linked to a postural disequilibrium. So we have a very simple way of testing it in clinic, which is the same test we do with adults, really. Okay. But the idea with kids is to be able to address them prior to the age of 16 and a half, because then we can really start talking prevention on a national level.
So it would be more about observing the behavior and not so much just the actual posture.
Yes, but the mother will at first kind of, will have taken the kid to see different specialists at that point. Okay. I work from word to mouth. When people hear about me from other people, and they start bringing me their kids. And the earliest, as I've said before, will be 3 years old. Okay. Now, in order to help them through the posturology, we of course need the intervention of the parents. Right. Because we can't really expect a 3 or 5 year old to start doing exercises. Right.
Is this the only location in Montreal that does this, the specialty?
It is. It is. Posture Pro represents, we do teach to other healthcare practitioners, which is the easiest way to reach as many people or help as many people as possible. But Posture Pro right now is located mainly in Montreal.
And another division is also for women. Like I heard that the posture can affect your period, pregnancy. How are the two connected?
Well, it's about energy expenditure, mitochondrial fatigue. Okay. If you're wasting more energy standing upright, in some cases, it could represent itself as a hormone imbalance. Okay. If you have a hormone imbalance, well, you need hormones, obviously, to have your reproductive cycle to be healthy as possible, amongst other things. So for women, we are talking about pregnancy. We're also talking about giving birth, meaning if a woman's pelvis is misaligned, before she gives birth, then chances are she might run into complications when the time comes. Right. So
how would you even know that?
Well, it's a very simple test. We just need to stand in front of the client, put our hands on top of their hips, and see if one hip is lower than the other.
Oh, okay. Can you test for that at home?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I do have a video on YouTube that demonstrates how to do it. Okay. It's a very simple test. What's crucial is that the woman's pelvis needs to be aligned.
Okay. Is there a lot of people who have that issue, or is that a small percentage?
90% of the world's population.
Okay, wow. I didn't expect that number.
Keeping in mind that a little bit more than half is women. But yeah, 90% of the world's population, which I think is 7 or 8 billion, it keeps on changing, right? It keeps on changing. So let's talk about 3.5, roughly, I'm rounding it up, 3.5 billion women.
Wow.
across the world
misaligned,
that are
okay.
misaligned.
Wow.
That
Okay.
are misaligned, yeah.
I'm gonna go check out that video tonight.
I'll do a small demo backstage afterwards to show you.
Wow, that's amazing. So it connects to so many things. How do you find the time to run the actual clinic while seeing patients?
This I owe to my team.
Okay.
The team is I've learned to delegate. Delegating is extremely important, and everyone has their part to play in it, but we all have the same common goal. My passion being, of course, to be able to help as many people as possible. I think that I found my calling when I opened the clinic, not really knowing what I was getting into fully, is when I saw how the impact that you can have on someone's quality of life.
Okay.
So the idea behind that is to help as many people as possible. If I work by myself, and I'm rounding it up, I can't see more than, 2,000 people a year.
Right.
But there's 3 million people in Montreal, and there's 50 million in Canada and 300 million in the States. So by training other healthcare professionals, then at that point I'm able to impact more and more people through posturology.
And was that always the goal? Because I can tell you're very passionate about it. Was part of your passion, is it the people that you're helping, or is it also the business aspect of it? Or is that the downside of doing it?
No,
managing the business?
No, managing the business. I think that when you like what you do, you don't really see, of course, there's always, ups and downs in the business, but I love what I do. So there's nothing that...
From the clients to the management?
The management, maybe not. I need help for the management because it becomes overwhelming at some point, right? So you need to bring people in that are going to help you, but they need to have the same perspective as you. Right? You need to associate yourself. I think that this is true to be in any business with people that speak the same language that you do and have the same goals and passions so that you can excel at what you do. So I'm lucky enough to have found that team.
Nice.
But I am passionate per se. My goal, and I don't want to say my obsession, but really this obsession to be able to give the message to people that there are solutions out there, and it's not just about treating the symptoms; it's about treating the cause.
Right.
And I think that we owe it to the world, really, to know that there's a way out there that could address the body as a whole rather than scrutinizing and cutting it into pieces.
Right.
And then just managing the symptoms, which at the end don't really give much results.
Right. And on top of it, you may be able to avoid some medications, right? With the proper training and testing.
Well,
I find, people are quick to get on medications.
Right, well, with the collaboration of doctors, of course, and by consulting and working with doctors and the patients, they're able to make a decision, the doctor is able to make the decision as to what's best for the patient. But, if someone doesn't have pain, if you don't have pain, are you going to go seek help? Right? So it kind of comes down to that. If people feel aligned, if they feel good in their body, then chances are they're not going to go so much consult a professional to fix their lower back if there's no lower back pain.
Right. Okay. And the clinic is considered a wellness clinic because you do more than just the posture. You offer other services as well.
Yes, but I'd say 90%, 80 to 90% really is based on posturology. So I really reserve my time just for that when I'm in clinic.
Okay.
And the rest of the time I'm trying to find ways to, developing courses outside of Canada and North America to be able to teach posturology. But I like the approach of global.
Okay.
A global approach, because everything is related. If we look at the body in essence, posture can affect hormone production, heart rate, breathing, emotions, chronic pain, every pain, the ones that we've listed before, cognition. So there are many aspects that we can, go tap into, but then again, it's still a question of how much we can actually do in a year. So we kind of typically give ourselves 2 or 3 goals every year, hoping to fill them up.
So can you give me some tips that I can do at home? I mean, now I know about the hip alignment. I'm gonna try that tonight. What else can we check for? Is my posture good right now?
Well, yes, because we're nicely sitting down on an awesome couch. Tips, very easy tips. I'd say the first one is we all have running shoes, right?
Yes.
I would say to cut the arches or to remove the insert that's in the running shoes.
Okay.
First and foremost.
Oh.
Second, I would recommend to do some eye exercises.
Okay.
eye exercises in the morning is very, again, we have a video on YouTube demonstrating that. It's very simple circles that you perform. You're just following with both of your eyes, a circle like this.
Okay.
And you're doing this for approximately 30 seconds. This will actually help realign your pelvis and your shoulders almost instantaneously.
Just following a circle.
Ideally small circle rather than big, but getting your eyes to move in synergy together.
Okay. Oh, I have a homework to do.
Well, it's a minute and a half per day, so it's really not deep or steep homework. It doesn't
and for
require
someone who
much
can't
time.
do it, what does it mean?
Most people could. I mean, you're tracking every day of your life. You're looking at me, you're kind of like focusing on a target. You can focus on any target that you look at. The idea behind it is to improve the quality of the focusing of the target.
Okay.
When we tend to get tired throughout the end of the day, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it's really our eyes that are getting tired. And then our body kind of follows with that.
Okay. So this is a good trick to help people out. They can take a minute in the morning and do it.
Yeah, and even shorter than that, 30 seconds will do.
Okay.
If you take that moment and really relax and, kind of like, this is your time, this is your space, focus on the finger and just follow it in circles. Repeat it in the afternoon and at night, you'll be much better off throughout the day.
Oh, okay, perfect. And, I'm kind of curious because the clinic's been open for about 10 years now, and you've been doing this. What kind of advice would you give? I was going to say to someone else, but actually, if you could speak to the you of 10 years ago, what advice would you give?
Fear is a liar. This is not to be afraid that I think that, and everything kind of works out, right? I think it's important for everyone to find their passion inside and what they like and what they're good at.
Right.
And then to be able to create, for me, it was about creating mind maps, kind of worded diagrams that helped me lay out my ideas and my connections that I wanted to make.
Right.
So to trust that everything will be okay, not to be afraid, and to definitely have a plan to put in execution to, be able to build the business that you're trying to build.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I really appreciate you sharing all these tips, and I'm going to try all of it tonight.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And thank you to you guys for joining us on another episode of Couch Talk. See you next time.
Wish to see you, wish to see you, made all the colors. Wish to see you, wish to see you, made all the colors.